Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. Um, so just before we get started, I'd like to remind the clients that we do record our consultations. Just a heads up on that. It's on the form already and everything, but just another heads up.
Cool.
Uh, but I think I had a few forms to read over. I can't remember if I got to yours yet, but just go ahead and fill me in with any important information that you think I should know about. I'll go ahead and be taking notes on my phone. I took the sticky notes away. Oh, here. I'll be taking notes as you go along, and then from there, we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
You want to start?
Yeah. Well, my name's Madeline. This is Tucker. This is Bruce.
Bruce.
He is a 10-month-old mini golden doodle. He is probably a little under 25 pounds. We got him last May. Overall, he's been a pretty good dog. There's just some behavioral issues that I think we want to get taken care of. So I don't know, should I dive into that first, or any other kind of like high level info you need to know about him?
Speak about what you're trying to accomplish and what you want to address with Bruce.
Cool. So I guess also for background, he has gone through like basic command training. So he knows like sit, he knows drop it, he knows like, doesn't always listen, but he knows kind of the basic commands.
From a trainer or you guys, like your own stuff?
We
did like a 8-week, like one
it was
time
like
a
beginner
week,
for puppy
1 hour. Yeah.
training with him.
And last summer we also had a fire at our apartment. So we were a little bit here and there. We had to spend some time up in Minnesota at my parents'. So it wasn't exactly the like most, out of the box new puppy introduction and training program that he's been on. So, I would say generally he's a really smart dog, but like from the standpoint of like always doing what we want and just sort of generally like, behavior on walks, behavior when guests come over, like those things, we definitely feel like, and I would say admittedly, it's probably more of a factor of like, we haven't spent as much time and been as organized about like
training him,
training him up on that stuff.
But I think there's kind of 3 to 4 like core things that I want to work on him with. The first, he's not a great walker, which is really frustrating. He like wants to put everything in his mouth. He just like very much dilly-dallies. So working with him on healing and just being like a little bit easier to walk with. He is a resource guarder. So it's gotten to the point where he used to be really good at the park. We used to take him over to Oz all the time. And if he has a ball, like he's not coming back to us anymore at the park, that's when we're like, okay, like the party's over here. We're getting serious.
And it's not even specific, like I would say less so than he's not coming back. It's like he's now realized like when we're about to leave the park and like specifically when we're trying to grab him, and like he'll come over and like, hang out like 10 yards away. But then as soon as you like try and beck him over with treats, he's like, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like going to stay out of arm's reach. So I used to go to the park, like almost every day with him. And I've been a lot more selective because there's been some times recently where I've like chased him around for an hour.
Sure.
So.
And then I think kind of piggybacking off of that, like in the apartment, I think he recognizes when we're going to like leave and put him in his crate, and then he'll try and like run everywhere around so we can't catch him. And
he likes to take things like a pair of socks.
He loves like the classic puppy stuff, like taking things and running away with them, which is obnoxious. And then I think the last thing that has gotten increasingly worse is just like his barking in the house. Like I think it's like he heard me. I think we live on the top floor of an apartment, and when he hears people coming in downstairs, like he just, I don't know if he gets nervous or scared, but he's gotten very empowered with his barking. And it's gotten to be a little obnoxious.
Got it.
So
Okay.
those are the main, is there anything else?
The
you want?
last thing I would say is like, sometimes, and it's mainly with us and people that he knows really well, but like when he's in a playful mood, sometimes he'll like jump up and like grab at your
Oh,
like
yeah.
sleeves
Feel
or like
bitey.
try and bite you in the butt or like
Not
do
like-
stuff like that, that like if we have guests over and he did that, like
I would
you
be
definitely
humiliated.
wouldn't want
Yeah.
him to be acting like that.
It's like, I think he's playing, but sometimes it hurts. And like, I'm paranoid he's going to do that to someone who's not us.
Got it. Okay. So is that what you meant when earlier you said guests coming over? Does he do that to the guests now, or you're afraid he's gonna do that at some point?
No, it's more like, you know, he'll be like running around. He'll get it really excited when like people, you know, like the one thing that sets him off is we have like a door buzzer that makes
Yeah.
kind of like a high pitched sound. And like whenever he does that, then he knows that like somebody's gonna be coming up, and like he gets like, you know, barks a bunch and then like gets really excited when they come up, and like usually if he knows the person, like he'll go up and like lick them or something. Like he doesn't, you like the jumping and like nipping is much more so with me, Madeline, or like people that he's very familiar with.
Yeah. But it's
But like
about
I wouldn't be like completely surprised if like a guest came over and he happened to like do that, and like, you know, it's never been like, oh my God, your dog just bit me or anything. It's like, Bruce, come on.
Got it. Okay. Anything else?
I think those are the main
those are the
things.
main things that we really have to
Okay.
on.
For the resource guarding, does he only resource guards to dogs, or does he resource guard to you guys as well?
I would say both.
Well, I mean, I think we heard that like buzzword from someone else that had like a dog, and like he does kind of like get jealous if like, you know, someone's chucking a ball and like then he sees like the dog running away with it, like if
He
it's
barks.
his,
That's
or
resource
like
guarding.
if he thinks like somebody threw the ball for him. But like he's also like he's very good at playing with other dogs in general, and like usually, you know, he'll like 5 seconds later he'll be distracted by something else, or if I squeak his ball like, you know, over on in another direction, like he's fine with that. As in terms of like other stuff, I would say like, you know, with the sock, or like if he has something that he knows like we really want back, then he, like it's a game, I think, more so than like I won't give it back to you.
But that's, I think, still, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that's still resource guarding.
Yeah, so resource guarding technically would have like levels to it. Like,
Mhm.
I guess what I consider resource guarding is showing aggression to protect food or like a ball. So example would be he has a ball, he drops it, a dog comes here and he acts in an aggressive way where he's snapping or biting at the other dog to tell him to back off. That's resource guarding. Him chasing a ball, if another dog has it, it's not so much resource guarding because he doesn't have it. He's just trying to get it. That's all. There's nothing he's actively guarding, right? Dogs are very on off, right? So if I hold a bone and he's chewing on it, he's not going to resource guard it because I have it, but he might chase me for it because he wants it, right? But the moment I let go and he has it, and then you try to reach for it again, and he snaps at you or bites you or growls or acts aggressive, that's now he's resource guarding that bone, right? So that's resource guarding. Do you see any of that in Bruce?
It's more jealousy.
It's like barks, like he'll get like little yippy barks if a dog like takes his ball, but I've never seen him bite or like
Okay, I see.
snip at another dog.
So then if he's barking, I would consider that like him like kind of trying to he's trying to do something to keep the ball, right?
Yeah.
But there are levels, right? So like that would like that's probably like the like a 1 on resource guarding, 10
Okay,
being
that's
where we've been at the point where we had a client who had 3 dogs, and one dog, if he heard the food bag or even the bowls, the silverware, he would go and hunt down the other dog and start attacking him
Oh
because
my God.
he just knew what was happening, so he wanted to be ahead of it, and then it would just go and attack, right? So
Right.
that's like pretty extreme,
Yeah.
right? So it sounds like what I'm hearing, and things can get worse. There,
Mhm.
like my dog, she was never a resource guarder. She always wanted no conflict. But then one day, she did end up just like snapping at another dog, and the dog ran away. Okay. So that moment, she just learned something like, oh, if I just snap at these dogs, I keep the ball. So can resource guarding be learned later on? Yes, but it's not, that's more easier to fix than if it was like a genetic issue, right? Because sometimes, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello?
Okay, we're
Oh,
back.
no worries. What was the last thing you heard from me?
Basically that resource guarding can be something that's learned, and you had told us about your dog.
Sounds good. Cool. So that's good to know. It's not that serious, but still
Mhm.
something there. And then guests in home is just overly excited, walks, he picks things up and zigzags. General,
Yeah.
so like basic general obedience with the heel and recall.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there any other specific commands you want Bruce to learn?
Come. He
Okay.
like, I think he knows that one, but he just ignores it.
Okay. So heal and come. Anything else? So what we can offer, what we can teach obedience wise, right? Because there's obedience and there's behavior. Do you know
Mhm.
the difference between the two?
Obedience is like doing what you're telling them to, and behavior is like knowing, what they should be doing, even if you don't have to. Is that kind of right?
Correct. Yes. So think of like for humans, obedience is math, science, English, social studies, and then
Mhm.
behavior is more of like morale. So like, don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, right?
Right.
If I am a psychopath and I'm a murderer, right? Teaching me math skills isn't going to help me not kill people, right? Because obedience does not fix behavior. Okay,
Right.
you have to teach behavior to change behavior.
Mhm.
So, just so you guys are aware of that,
Mhm.
sometimes a sit or like a place. Are you guys familiar with the place command?
My brother's done that with his dogs. We never really got Bruce to
Yeah,
do
to do
that,
that.
Is that something you're interested in learning or having Bruce learn?
I mean, that would probably be a good one. Like
Yeah.
during meal times, like
Sure.
he'll like to kind of keep his nose in things, and
Yeah.
Yes.
like, yeah, that would be another one I would say would be good to have. Probably not like the top priority, like just behind some of those things we mentioned, but
Yeah.
like if we can add that to the list, like it would definitely be a benefit.
Sounds good.
It's like reinforcing no too. Like he definitely knows what no means, but sometimes he's like, I don't care. Like I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. We don't teach no.
Mhm.
Because no is, so let's say he's jumping on someone and you
Yeah.
no, and he stops. That's good. But he's always going to jump on that person until you say no. Versus more of like just not having it ever happen. Right.
Mhm.
So we don't say no, it's more of just correct the behavior because we don't want to see it again. Now, let's say you want to control the jumping, so you're not trying to eliminate it, you want to control it, then it's more of like not having no, but more of like a cue that he can jump. Right?
Yeah,
When you're done, you're done. You know what I mean? So
sure.
um,
That
I know
makes
what
sense.
I know what you mean by no, like correcting behaviors when he's jumping, when
Mhm.
he's got a sock or he's got these other things. That I know what you mean by that. So it's
Yeah.
okay. Anything else? Oh, did we freeze again? Why? Why is this always with me?
Okay, we're back.
That was weird. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. So easy stuff, just general obedience, regular kind of overly excited puppy type behavior.
Yeah.
So previous training programs it was more food stuff, correct?
Yeah, like using treats.
Yes.
Yes, yep. It was all pretty much food focused.
Got it. Okay. And then you are aware we use e-collars, correct?
Yep.
Are you familiar with e-collar?
I've never used one. I know you're I think my mom actually, I just never personally have used one, but I'm familiar-ish with them.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents, we have 2 black labs and we've used one with one of our dogs who I can't remember. I think I was probably in college when they did like the initial training, but like generally it's like, he's like, we use it mostly up at our lake house, in like northern Minnesota. And it's like, if he's like heading down towards like another cabin, like we'll give him a buzz and like say, come Reggie, and he'll come back. Whereas like if you were just yelling come like once or twice, like maybe he was like deciding whether or not he wanted to do it. So that's kind of how my experience with it has gone. But like I said, I wasn't really involved in like, here's how you should do it. And like the initial, when we were getting him on it.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's basically like the end goal. That's the basic concept of how e-collar works. It's more of like giving power to the cue, to the word, right? So recall isn't just like, hopefully he comes if I call him, right? It's like he's for sure going to come because there will be a consequence, technically, right? Or a motivational feeling on the dog's neck, right? The reason why we only train with e-collar and we don't gamble around with these other tools is because e-collar is the only tool that can guarantee to 90 to 100% of reliable obedience up to off-leash obedience. It's the only tool that can get you off-leash obedience, right? Now, prong collars, sip leashes, gentle leashes, they are all good tools, but they have a low ceiling, right? So prong collar, you can still teach heel, stay, sit down, come place. But the moment you don't have that prong collar on, when you want recall, that's not going to work out because you are always going to need to be tethered with a long leash or something, right? The technology behind e-collar, it's very similar to the feeling of a mini TENS unit. Have you ever had a TENS unit before? It's like it's given to their patients from chiropractors and physical therapists to massage torn muscles. So it just contracts the muscle. It's like a pulse thing.
Got it.
The same technology is on e-collars. Obviously, there are different brands, right? The brand we go for is called Dogtra. This brand has been used by Jesse, the owner of the company, for more than half his career. He's tried other brands before, but this is the one that's been most consistent, and his dogs have been very responsive to this specific brand. Okay. Our brand Dogtra, the levels of stimulation, right? Because there's stim, there's a vibrate, and there's a beeper. We don't have beeper on our systems. There's no need for it, but there's vibrate and stim. We use a stim always. We don't really use pager unless the dog is unless the dog is deaf, then we'll have pager that can help them figure it out.
Okay.
But for Doctra offers 127 levels of stimulation in increments of ones, right? You might see other brands that maybe give you 8 levels. You might see an 8-level e-collar, right?
Okay.
Don't think Doctra has 100 more levels, because their maximum 8 and our maximum 127 are the same.
Got it.
Just have so many more numbers to be more specific to the dog's personality,
Mhm.
the breed, the situation we're in, right? So it's very nuanced and very specific, and that helps with dog training a lot, because let's say on the 8 levels e-collar, as you can imagine, if there's big jumps, so maybe 7, Bruce is yelping, but 6, he blows off, he's ignoring you.
Mhm.
Which one are you gonna want, right? So
Yeah.
with dog training, you can be very specific, because there's very small jumps between each number there.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
No. Mm-mm.
Why is e-collar so successful? It's more of like how it communicates to the dog, right? It's physicality, right? It's something physical, touching the dog, contracting, buzzing, whatever it is. It's touching the dog, right?
Mhm.
Dogs are physical animals, right? So if Bruce, if Bruce is at the dog park, right, and he's got a ball, or maybe he's bothering an older dog, he wants to play with the older dog. How do you think that older dog is going to let Bruce know that he doesn't want to play?
Nip at him or
Yeah.
something.
Bark
Right.
at him. Yeah.
Yes. They don't have language, so they can't say off, leave it, no, right? It's more of like, if you're gonna act this way, you're gonna receive a consequence for your
Mhm.
behavior. Okay. Physicality, right? Now, can e-collar, deter behaviors as well as motivate, dogs to do other behaviors? Yes, but not to the point where like a dog bite can do much more damage than the e-collar. Even on the maximum level on e-collar, a dog bite will always do more, because that actually punctures. Okay.
Yeah.
Even on the maximum level on e-collar, you'll never mess up your dog psychologically, mentally, physically. It's impossible. Sometimes owners are also concerned with, will my dog hate me because I'm pressing the button? Bruce will never know you are the one using it, because there's nothing physically connected to you and the feeling, right? Versus the leash, right? If you tug him or pull him, he knows that's coming from you, because the feeling is attached through the leash to you. So, right?
Yeah.
So e-collar is also a very non-confrontational tool, where there's no yelling, there's no physical force or anything like that. It's just pressing a button. Obviously, there's more than that than pressing a button, but it's very simple for clients, right? Usually now in this world, everything is becoming button based, right? So
Mhm.
elevators, cars. So when we're doing buttons with the dogs, they know and they understand the technology as well.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
No.
So how do we begin teaching e-collar to Bruce? The first exercise we are going to do for Bruce is teach him the heel command. Okay.
Okay.
Our version of heel is walk with me, stay with me, and sit when I stop. So if you take 5 steps with Bruce, Bruce takes 5 steps. If you take 10, he takes 10. And then when you come to a stop, he's to automatically sit, no words, with a loose leash, with his shoulder parallel to your leg in any environment. Don't care what's going on. Don't care how many balls are flying around. That's how strict the heel needs to be. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's many reasons why this is the first thing we teach. The most obvious reason would be for the obedience part, right? A nice walk, you can walk however long you need to, no issues. He's not picking stuff up the ground, because he's more concerned about the position, right? The other part of why this is important to teach is so he understands how the e-collar works, how it comes and how it goes, right?
Mhm.
So usually 90% of the time when a dog feels the e-collar for the first time with no training, nothing, they want to get away from the feeling. Okay.
Mhm.
So like if your black lab, when he felt the feeling, he knew this meant to go to mom or dad, right? He wasn't feeling it being like, whoa, what's going on? Right? He was able to connect the dots, right? So that's what we need to do for Bruce as well, is having him understand this means to go to you, not run away or stay still because you're unsure, right? So we have to give him answers when he feels this, because he's gonna be thinking, what is this feeling, right? When we're doing heal, it's going to be offering a clear picture to him that, oh, when you feel this, you got to come with me. He's like, oh, okay, that's all I got to do, right? So we're teaching him how the e-collar comes and goes. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, that
Okay.
sounds great.
Yes. So the other reason why this is very important is how this affects him picking stuff up from the ground is basically, I already explained what heal is. It's very strict, right? So if the training is meaningful and it matters to him and it's concerning, right? Because he's like, I gotta stay here. Technically, he shouldn't even worry about picking stuff up from the ground. So we don't need to teach out or leave it. It's more of just automatic. You just don't do that. Does that make sense? So that's how like the psychology works is you're so focused on me and being here that dog, that person making kissing noises to you, the garbage doesn't matter because you're concerned about this, right? Because this feeling on the neck is real. That's what's touching you. The dog across the street barking at you isn't touching you. It's more like a ghost. Like it's not there really, but this is here, right? So which one are you going to listen to? It's most likely going to be the one that's physically touching you. Does that make sense? Cool. So once we teach heal and we go through that process, then we can go to other things like recall, how to use the e-collar when guests enter the home so that everyone, there's not a dog jumping around or overly excited and it's not a bunch of chaos in that moment of entering. And then we can also talk about, what else was it? Other stuff if we get that far for obedience, because I can teach obedience at any point. It's just the behavior stuff like the jumping and the guests entering the home that kind of takes a little bit in practice, and we kind of have to see how that's going to work out. For the heal, this type of structured walk tends to be really calming and tiring for a dog, right? It's mentally exhausting to keep the shoulder on your leg for the whole walk, right? So in result of that, you might see Bruce be a little more tired throughout the day, right? Which is a good thing. He's getting the mental part of he's getting mental exercise outdoors now instead of just physical, right? So he's getting everything throughout this walk. So you're ending the walk leaving him satisfied technically. So other behaviors might go away. So I had a client whose dog used to stare at shadows at a certain time at sunset, right? Like he would stare at the wall and just start drooling and just like this, right? So they did an in-person program, and by week 3, that behavior just went away on its own. It just went away. So certain things might change in Bruce's life for the better, obviously having him become more calm and again more just relaxed, because when a dog enters the outside, a lot of times what I'm hearing from Bruce is that he's really like overstimulated, right? He's very overwhelmed and everything, so that's why you're getting the zigzagging behavior. So that's him trying to figure out what do I need to do outside. Okay. Once I give him a job, which is heal, it's almost like, oh, I just need to walk here and with mom or dad. That's what I need to do out here. So he's not left kind of in a cycle of go, 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 right? You're more controlling him mentally and he's more just kind of controlling himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
For sure.
he used to get tired like when I go to those other hour-long trainings, like just from like
He'd be
trying to figure out what to do to get the treats.
that
That would be welcome.
Mental exercise.
I'll take calming effects on him.
Any other questions about that stuff? E-collar technologies or
You said that like just kind of how long it takes to get through like that kind of introductory phase that you're working through, like depends on the dog a little bit. So it could be 1 session, it could be 3. Like just kind of depends on how quickly he starts to pick it up.
Yeah, so are you guys interested in in-person, board and train, daycare and train, or what program were you interested in before I answer that question?
I think there was one where it was like the in-person at Oz Park.
Okay. So for in-person, from all the information I've gathered here, if your main concerns are leash walking, people coming into the home, and recall, minimum 6 weeks, the 6 week.
Okay.
2 classes on heel. That's all we need. And then 3rd class can be the in-home. 4th and 5th class can be recall, because there's 2 parts to recall. If you want to cover a stationary command, we can take that class of recall away and just do 1 class recall. And the 6th one can be anything you want. So if you want to work on a new command or you know, more stuff in the home, we can do that. That's more of like an extra, let's see what we need this for type thing. I say 6. We do have a 3-week program, but we wouldn't have enough time to do the in-home stuff. It would just be leash walking and recall. That's it. Okay. So from a dog like Bruce, from what I'm hearing, 2 classes heel should be good. 1 class to teach the basics, 2nd class to start adding the words and the auto sit and turning and stuff like that. But basic walking next to you will be done within that class. And then, yeah, it does depend on the dog, right? So if we have a dog who is, I don't know, let's say there's a behavioral issue where the dog is an anxious dog or a flighty dog, right? Basically what that means is when a dog, you know, we had a few dogs who you would take outside and they're always trying to get away. They're just trying to run away. And like they're stressed, they're already out here. They're just like, I want to go, right? So when we're using e-car, we're trying to tell them, don't run away, stay with us. So in result of that, you're going to see the dog be very stressed because he wants to run away, but the e-car is telling him to stay. So he's kind of like, he has to make that decision, right? So can e-car be a little rough for that specific dog? Yes. But from what I'm hearing from a dog like Bruce, it sounds like it should be smooth, pretty simple stuff there for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For sure. My one question about the e-collar, and maybe I just wasn't looking at this the right way, but are there multiple different kinds that you can buy on the site, like depending upon the dog's weight, or is it all kind of the same?
Yeah. So for Dogtra, they have you say he's 25 pounds, right?
About, yeah, 20 to 25.
I probably can I see him again real quick? Sorry.
Yeah. He just got a haircut, so he's looking a little slender.
I see. Okay. Oh, he actually is pretty big.
Well, there we go. Didn't like that.
I believe because there's a 280C, which is meant for smaller dogs, and he's kind of like a medium-ish dog. So it's either going to be the 280C or the 2300. Now, the 2300 is more of a bulkier box. So basically, the main models we use is 280C for small dogs. They also have what's called an IQ Mini, but that's meant for like Chihuahuas and Yorkies.
Okay.
280C, 2300 NCP, and then the 1900S Black Edition.
Okay.
So if for him the 280C might be okay, it is meant for smaller dogs than than Bruce right there. But since we're just dealing with basic obedience, it shouldn't be that big of an issue.
Okay.
If for some reason throughout the training we're finding that the 280C isn't a good fit for him, we might need to upgrade to the 2300. If you care about aesthetics, the 2300 is more of a bulkier box on the dog's neck. So if you care about aesthetics and you want a collar that's not so like big on his neck, you can purchase the 1900S Black Edition where it's curved and it's not a box, it's more curling, it's curling around the neck. It is priced, you know, 280C is the cheapest option, obviously. Then it's 2300, and then the 1900 Black Edition, which I forget the price, but it's like 270 maybe for the Black Edition.
Okay.
There is a regular 1900S edition, but we don't use that system because the way the stem is delivered is more sharper. So then dogs tend to get a little bit more anxious with that system. But There have been some dogs who do good on it. So if you still wanted that curved collar, you can go ahead and try that out too. But I'm thinking the 280C should be good since he's a little smaller guy.
Got it. And then, so just to make sure we're buying all of the right things, there's a lot of, I'm on the site right now and there's a lot of different tools.
So after this consultation, my assistant Tina is going to reach out to you with a follow-up email. She's going to send you the programs I recommend with the prices, the e-collar I recommend with the price, and we also sell them here. So I can bring it like class 1 to you guys.
Oh, okay, great.
And then she's also going to send you a link. It's to a form that just needs to be signed and agreed to. Once the form is signed and agreed to, we can go ahead and begin the billing and booking process.
Okay.
We work with your availability. So whatever day you're available is what the day she'll work out with you guys. What else? Any other questions?
No, seems all pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. So like again, minimum 6-week program is what I'm seeing. That will work for you. There is the 9-week program and there is the 12-week program. The 9-week program is more for clients who want the leash walking, want the recall, but then they take their dogs to outdoor patios and need stationary control, right? The 12-week program is for clients who want everything for off leash, because maybe they go like hiking every other weekend and need the ultimate control, right?
Yeah.
So just letting you know what those programs are for if you're interested in them. But again, bare bones 6-week program would be perfect for you guys.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Yeah. On the calendar, you get 6 time slots, right? So for example, I meet you guys. This is just an example. Mondays at 7:15, 6 times, right? We meet for an hour once a week. I give you one topic at a time, so it's enough information for you to practice with. But then you also get an extra time slot on the calendar reserved for you. So you technically get 7 spots on our calendar. That 7th spot is in case, life happens, in case you need to reschedule, you still have a slot reserved for you. But once you've used that extra slot, you'll have to wait to get back on the calendar. Again, these are just to keep things moving and flowing on the calendar and stuff like that with other clients. What else about the in-person? Right now, with the weather and everything, we are operating in facility. So our classes are being held here. But if you want to do Oz Park, we can do that. I don't care about the cold. It's more like, I'm thinking like about the clients and like, depending on the dog's coat, the fur, right? For dealing with a pity, short hair, I kind of have to think about that. But if you want Oz Park, I can do Oz Park. That's fine.
My only, which I think Oz would probably be our preferred, but I just work like, what do you guys do if we have an appointment and it's going to be like a crazy snowstorm or something and we're supposed to meet at Oz? Like what would we do in those situations?
We would just meet at our facility.
Okay.
So like Oz, if it works, otherwise, like, could we just like kind of coordinate via email with you or something, or text and just say, hey, like, looks like it's gonna snow on Wednesday when we have our meeting. Let's do your facility this week, and then next week, if it's decent, we can go back to Oz.
Yes, we're very flexible. So sometimes I've had clients say, it's snowing today. I really want to be at Oz though, so let's just reschedule for next week, or let's see what it looks like tomorrow, and then we'll see tomorrow. So we're very flexible with that stuff. But usually, if it's like, if you're trying to get the class done that day and it's snowing or it's a snowstorm or it's below something degrees, right? Yeah, we usually just send a text like that morning, like, hey, just a heads up, it's happening today. What do you want to do about it, right? But we have plenty of room here at our facility to work with and space, stuff like that. Any questions about that?
No, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Are you guys like walking distance from Oz Park?
Yeah, we're super close.
Nice, perfect. Oh yeah, Oz Park is great to train at. Plenty of distractions, dogs everywhere. What else? Cool. So we spoke about the e-collar, how to introduce it, programs, anything else I missed, or is that pretty much?
I think you answered all the questions that I had.
Okay.
Like the starting, I know you said like, you know, we handle the payment and stuff and then coordinate kind of the timing with your assistant. Like, should we expect to like be starting this like within the next couple weeks, or like is there kind of like a wait list out to
Yeah.
get kind of going with the program?
Yeah, so yeah, my calendar is pretty busy right now on the weekends, but worst comes to worst, we just choose a different day. So she should be reaching out to you tomorrow, right, with the information. Realistically, you can start this week because I do have some slots have open now. I finished a few programs with some clients. So this week should, you know, if you get the form signed, payments through and stuff like that, we can technically start this weekend.
Okay.
There's not like a super long wait or anything like that. What else? Any other questions?
No.
Cool. So yeah, just keep a lookout for that follow-up email from Tina. Again, you should get it either tomorrow or the following day, the latest the following day, which would be Wednesday. But if any other questions come up, feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But like I said, nothing out of the ordinary. Bruce sounds like you guys said, a good dog, just some little behavior stuff you guys have to adjust, and that's all. But
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
No,
That's it.
thank you so much. I so
Yeah.
appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Alrighty, guys. Have a good week.
Have
You
a great
too.
week. Bye.